If you've ever been told that your soil is worthless without synthetic fertilizers, that you need a cocktail of chemical boosters to make anything grow, you've been sold a half-truth. For nearly a century, fertilizer companies have convinced farmers and gardeners that success comes from a bag, a bottle, or a factory-made solution. But the truth is older, simpler, and far more sustainable. Before industry got involved, people grew thriving crops with living soil. Soil that fed itself through cycles of decay, minerals, and microbes. And right now, as fertilizer costs skyrocket and soil degradation worsens, it's time to return to what actually works. This isn't a nostalgia piece. It's a survival strategy for your garden, your land, and your future. The fertilizer story began in the 1800s, when exhausted European fields no longer produced as they once did. Industrialists saw opportunity in chemistry. By isolating nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, what we now know as NPK, they created products that gave quick results. Yields shot up, and the market loved it. But those fertilizers didn't repair the soil. They bypassed it. They fed the plant directly, while the soil slowly starved of the biological life that made it fertile in the first place. By the 1950s, synthetic fertilizers became the backbone of industrial agriculture. They worked fast, but they created dependence. Each growing season required more input because the soil microbiome, the fungal networks, bacteria and organic matter, was dying. It's the same as feeding a person sugar instead of nutrition. You get a burst of energy, then a crash, then addiction. The soil was no different. And today, that addiction has stripped over half the world's farmland of its natural vitality. A thriving soil ecosystem isn't built on nitrogen alone. It's built on structure, life, and balance. The secret lies in feeding the soil organisms, not the plants. When you add compost, worm castings, or leaf mold, you're not just adding nutrients. You're introducing living systems that continuously process minerals, carbon, and moisture. That's how ancient farmers, from China's rice terraces to the Nile Delta, could cultivate the same plots for thousands of years without ever running out of fertility. To rebuild your soil, you need to start by stopping the chemical assault, right? Each dose of synthetic fertilizer actually kills off beneficial fungi and microbes, the very life forms that convert organic matter into usable nutrients. Instead, begin adding decomposed plant waste, animal manure, or even kitchen scraps, as long as they're properly composted. Within a few months, you'll start seeing structure, soil that holds moisture, crumbles between your fingers, and, well, smells alive. That's your first sign of recovery. If you want proof, just run a simple test. Take 2 pots of the same soil, feed one with chemical fertilizer and the other with compost tea or vermicast. After about 3 weeks, have a close look. The fertilized plant might look bigger at first, but the compost-fed one will develop deeper roots, darker leaves, and, honestly, a lot more resilience against pests. That's the long game of living soil. It sustains itself. Plants depend on more than just the big 3 elements, you know. They require a symphony of trace minerals: iron, copper, manganese, boron, zinc, calcium, and dozens more. Synthetic fertilizers rarely include them, yet they exist abundantly in natural rock dusts, decaying plants, and even rainwater. When your soil biology is alive, it unlocks those minerals through enzymatic processes, making them available to roots in perfect balance. If your garden struggles despite regular fertilization, that's your clue. Your soil likely has nutrients. It's just locked up. Microbes, worms and fungi are the key holders. To activate them, you can apply something as simple as a compost tea. Fill a 5-gallon bucket with water, add a shovelful of compost, a spoon of molasses, to feed the microbes, and let it aerate for 24 hours. Pour that tea over your garden and you're repopulating the underground ecosystem with billions of living organisms. That single step, honestly, does more for long-term fertility than any store-bought fertilizer. If your soil is hard, dry or lifeless, it's not poor, it's hungry for carbon. Organic matter, dead leaves, straw, mulch, roots, is what gives soil its sponge-like texture. It holds moisture during drought and releases it when dry. It buffers pH, provides a home for microbes, and releases nutrients slowly. Every gardener should aim for at least 5% organic matter in their soil. A practical approach is layering. Start with a mulch of shredded leaves, grass clippings or straw about 2 to 3 inches thick. As it decomposes, add new layers. Within months, you'll see worms returning and water retention improving. The transformation is slow but permanent. It's the same principle early settlers used when turning forest clearings into farmland. They didn't fertilize, they built soil. Modern fertilizer skips nature's factory and, just forces the output. But, you see, soil life actually operates on a mutual exchange. Plant roots release sugars into the soil, attracting fungi and bacteria. Those microbes, in turn, trade minerals and nitrogen back to the roots. It's a barter system that maintains equilibrium. Disturb it with chemicals, and it collapses. Nurture it, and your soil becomes self-sufficient. What fertilizer companies won't tell you is that their products were never meant to heal soil. They were designed to extract quick yields, plain and simple. But when you work with living systems, the yield becomes sustainable, not just seasonal. The real secret is patience. A living soil takes time to mature, but once it does, it can support crops indefinitely with minimal input. If you want to test this truth for yourself, dedicate one bed in your garden as a no-fertilizer zone. Feed it only with compost, mulch and natural teas for a single growing season. By the end, measure your yields and soil texture. You'll see what every regenerative farmer already knows. Nature already built the perfect system. We just stopped trusting it. They lied about fertilizers because selling dependency is, profitable. But restoring soil life is free, and it works. The answer was never in a bag. It's right beneath your boots, just waiting to breathe again. If this knowledge helps you see your garden differently, subscribe to Hydro Haven and share this with someone who's still stuck in the fertilizer myth. Together, we can bring the soil back to life, one handful at a time.